20 games challenge, I've started to work Flappy Bird. And this was a pretty difficult game, but I was able to do it and I was definitely able to learn a lot. So the finished project follows an eagle and him trying to pass through icicles. And so the game is functionally complete. I set up a to-do list to myself. I definitely use a lot of resources, but this game, I didn't follow like a direct tutorial. I kind of had to do it on my own and fit it to like the JavaScript template that I made like last time. I just kind of molded it into work with Flappy Bird. I worked on this one for a long time, but I'm so glad I'm finally done with it. And overall, it works pretty good with a couple issues. Like you have the best score is collisions. Collision I spent a long time ago, long time on. Uh, Still, collisions I definitely struggle with even after Pong. Collisions are much more difficult in this one. One thing that I found helpful is just to like draw out them, so, like, and being able to draw it kind of helped to visually see them. But it's, like I can like enable and disable them. I think that's what I'll use for future projects that will need collision support. It is super helpful. Uh, and like originally I wanted it to actually rotate based on the velocity, like how in the original Flappy Bird works, but that did not really work with the collisions because the collision box of the eagle didn't actually change to fit. So in the end, in order just to make it work and functionally playable, I just deleted that. But like still, there's an issue where technically this little part of this little corner that like you don't visually see the eagle is just this beak that's being covered by the collision box. So it means that the collision being a rectangle is not very accurate, but it still functionally works. Um, Another thing was like button support. Like that was something kind of tricky. I needed to have a collision system for, but in the end I was able to do it. And it even works with mobile, which is fun. And like it'll print out when I click on it. Like this took a while, but actually like drawing out the collision that helped me a lot. Um, and it has like some useful printing out of what's happening, as you can see here in the console log. Uh, and so I'm pretty proud of what I made. Still though, some issues are that like when I press restart, sometimes it will stop animating it, and that's an issue. Another thing is the frame rate. I'm still having an issue with. It's 30. It's supposed to be 30 frames, but like on all other devices, with my computer, it'll be like 60 frames, and 60 frames is way too fast. It's like almost unplayable. Uh, like in the original hybrid, I think that it definitely like speeds up over time. Mine, I just want to be easy, but still, that's definitely an issue. I also animated the bird. Nothing else really got animated, except maybe the floor that needed to be animated. That was animated in code. And that's just like a really long strip with some logic that if it reaches the end, it gets respawned and drawn again with like the current thing that's being drawn. And then another thing was the sound effects. The sound of like the hit sound, that's like my marker hitting the table, which I recorded. I just kind of played around with it in Audacity. And then that's just my mouth, which I like made it deeper. It's just me blowing into the microphone. And then like the flap, it's also just like a cutout of me blowing into the microphone. But like the die and like the point, those are main SFXR. And then the font, I tried to make my own font, but that didn't really work. So I just ended up using the public pixel font, which I think I used in my last project, and that was pretty fun. It doesn't carry over the same font to here because it needs to like follow the same sizing constraints. And like while I was working on, I found an asset pack for the original Flappy Bird and kind of based it off that, which was helpful. The background itself is kind of made to imitate like New York a bit, and like the floor design, I try to make it different than the original, but like I just want to like make like a pattern, but that didn't work. And like that, the shading is pretty nice. There's like some foreground, some background, and like the kind of simplistic version of the original, or like nothing's really going on. These are just like some wacky buildings that I found online. I think that if I made a parallax, it'd be nice, but I think it still works for the game. And the icicles, originally they were gonna look like this, but that would make me have like even more collision errors. So in the end, I just opted for making them just like straight rectangles. So like art, that definitely took a while, but like I'd say most of the time I spent like fixing those collision errors. Like the final stretch of like doing the points, the restart button, that was all like a couple of days. But like actually building out the basics of the game, actual gameplay, that took a while because of collisions. So overall, I'm excited to move on to breakout in the next game, which will require some trigonometry. So see you then. Thanks for watching.